Hi, everybody, and welcome to the final vlog for the Wizarding World Circle of Fate campaign. We have just finished reading the epilogue. Hopefully, we are tied up as many loose ends as possible. And yeah, how does it feel to be done, guys?
It's so weird. It's
It
Bittersweet.
so
hurts.
weird.
Yeah, bittersweet. It hurts, but I'm happy. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a long road and it's over. It's amazing, actually.
Yeah. Just a year ago, a little over a year ago now, we were all just auditioning. Uh, I remember getting messages from you guys for the first time, like, "Hey,
Oh,
loved your or your audition," and I had nothing back. Don't watch the interview.
oh my God. It's been like the craziest ride. This campaign has such high highs and low lows. That's a saying, but it's been such a in terms of how the story went, just such an up and down experience. And honestly, there's not a group of blokes I'd rather do it with. It was so great. Meeting you guys was awesome. Becoming friends with you guys and being introduced to this community was so great. Um, when I first auditioned, I didn't think I was going to get in, and I'm so glad that I did because it was such a great experience and opportunity. And I thank you all for being part of it with me.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's amazing actually. Everything we've been through, like you said, when I first auditioned, I didn't knew what was going to happen. I had just heard from Downforged about Hark, and I was like, "Hey, this looks fun. Let's give it a try. I like Harry Potter. What could go wrong?" And nothing.
What could go wrong?
And everything went well. Great, actually. I loved the opportunity I've had, the adventures. Everything was so amazing. But obviously, the greatest thing is that I'm so glad that day I decided to do that audition. As nothing more than, hey, this looks interesting. Like, what could I lose? Because I won so much. I got to meet all of you guys, and that's something that I'll never be able to. Like, something I'll remember all my life.
Jordan said we're not allowed to cry, but
Oh,
no, AJ, don't cry.
Hey, don't cry. I haven't cried the whole season. If you cry, I'm gonna cry. Don't do it.
AJ, what you done?
I distinctly remember whenever when we were interviewing that I said that I was most looking forward to this experience because it brings together some of my favorite things, and being able to look back, like I've always wanted to write a story, and I feel like we wrote a story as a group, and I just think it was awesome. And the thing I didn't know going in, like I knew it was a story, it was a game, like it was creative, like those are all the things I love, but the thing that like I was hoping for but didn't realize how impactful it would be was the group of friends that I made. And not only within this group, but just Hark as a community, like I've, especially in the quarantine, I've got to like really interact with a bunch of people in this community, and it's awesome. And I'm not gonna cry, so I'm just gonna stop there.
Cry, cry. I can't be the only one. God damn it.
There was a few
Kind
tears.
No, to kind of tag on with what AJ said, like people that I don't think really realize, like when you get into this camp, because you're so excited to play the game, you're like, oh, I'm in the campaign. You don't really understand, like, these are friends you make. And like we talk literally every day. I met Hark and AJ. Me and AJ were just talking yesterday about like how fun it was to go watch a movie with Hark and his husband.
Aw.
We literally just like 2 days ago, we were just talking about that.
oh.
It's like it's the stuff like that that you don't realize when you get into the campaign. That if you allow yourself to want more from the experience than just playing, that this is such a great experience. This is just a great life experience, not even just like a great game to play.
Yeah, it's something that Baden, my boyfriend, said to me. He was like, I don't like any of that tabletop stuff. that's your thing, but I'm so glad you did this and put yourself out there like that, because it seems like you really got a lot out of it. And it's true, because like playing's great, that's awesome, but it's like the relationships you build, and also what you learn, like in terms of like when you run your own games. I think there's a lot to learn from this experience as well. A lot of how I run my games, I took inspiration when I was 18 and I started watching Hark's channel. I modeled all my stuff of what he did. So yeah, me and my friends do warm-up questions, because like I was the first DM, and I was like, okay, well, I saw this guy on YouTube do it, so we're gonna do this, help you guys get the character, and now we all do warm-up questions for our campaign. So yeah.
Oh, that's sweet. Warm-up questions actually was something that I borrowed from another GM. So that wasn't something that I came up with on my own. Another one did it many years back, and I was like, I loved it. I loved the idea of it, so I started doing it myself. So there's no shame in stealing things from other GMs at all.
No, I don't worry. I stole things from you.
I said this off camera, but I did want to say it again, especially since I wasn't sure if that Brandon was there. But I did want to also say, for practical reasons, thank you so much for being so dedicated. For people who are not watching, when we play these games, it's like 5 a.m. for both Brandon and for Clef, and it's like 11 o'clock at night, I think, for Jordan, and you know how long we play for. So I was telling them, I don't know if I would be doing that myself if it were me, but I really am very grateful and appreciative and flattered that you guys were so willing to dedicate yourselves physically to be able to do this for 20 sessions, like doing this every other week for 20 sessions. Again, I'm thinking 5 a.m. in the morning. I'm really so thankful that you guys decided to do that. So thank you.
No problem. There was times where like I would get off at work at 2 a.m., get home by like 3 a.m. and be like, well, I can't go to sleep, or I'm not going to wake up. And I don't regret it at all. Like I was excited for it every Saturday or Sunday sometimes whenever we had to record. Like the lack of sleep didn't bother me at all, just to hang out with you guys and have fun and play.
Yeah, it's amazing. And I want to say this to every new person that's going to play with Hark ever, or just auditioning. Everyone that already auditioned, everyone's going to be part of the new Dragon Age campaign. Everything that will think of auditioning next year, you really should, because yes, you're putting yourself out there. Yes, it can be hard or embarrassing, but you gain so much from it. I never would have met these wonderful people that I call friends today, that like they said, literally we talk every single day.
No, it's kind of tough. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, I can stand Jordan already, but
yeah, like, I'm getting straight off after this.
Like, yeah, we play games with each other. It's a unique experience you're never going to get. So why not at least try and go for it?
Thank you for that. And even if you unfortunately don't make it onto the campaign, so many people who auditioned have found other games, especially if you're on the Discord server, and not only other games with each other, but other games with previous players too, who were in the campaign. So I thank everyone, not just you guys, for mingling with everybody, not just just the people who made it into the campaigns. So
yeah, it's just like like we were saying, it's a unique experience where like I don't think we really comprehend that we're talking to somebody. We're literally all around the world right now. Like Jordan's on the other side of the planet to us. Clef is like not in America, and like there's these, like I got these friends now, not even just here, but like in your community, that like when I travel or I go to a different city or a different state, like I'm planning on meeting up with them. It's like I need to see you. I've already met a few people from your community just as it is, and if any of you guys stop in Vegas, I mean, it's a tourist attraction. Come on down and come see me.
I'm waiting for Roma to pay Clef a visit. I'm sure there's a lot of things that Robo wants to do when she meets Clef face to face.
So that just adds to the experience there, because it's not just we play a Harry Potter game every week. It's we are friends, and we as a Hark community, everybody is really close.
Hark, I don't want to misquote you. What is the phrase you always say when you sign off your videos?
Love yourselves and love each other.
Yes. And I thought that's what it was, but I didn't want to misquote it. But something I've really kind of when I think about that, and over the past months, especially as I've talked with these guys even more and more as we reflect on the sessions and the finale and just this community, like I think that's so important. And I was so nervous going into this. Like I am an outgoing person, but I was like, I don't want to mess this up. But we're all humans. We're all imperfect, and we have to like embrace that. Like, was this story perfect? No. Like, did we all have moments where we probably like made mistakes or did stuff that was like questioned by the viewers? Like, yes. But I want to remind everyone of that, whether you're in the next campaign or a future campaign, or whether you're just hanging out in the Discord or commenting, like, don't forget that. I think, Hark, you embody that very well. And I know that your campaigns put a lot of discussion out there, and I think that's good. But I think like that's the one thing I'm going to really take away, is that I learned not to really like worry too much. I just had to be AJ and be Albion. And in the end, like, it is what it is. So
yeah,
it is what it is.
Oh, I had a question. Me next. So, like, what would you say, like?
I was waiting for that. No, sorry.
Perfect.
That's
now
perfect.
We get copy strikes.
Yeah, now we get demonetized.
That was
I don't
only
think
like
any of
3
these videos are
seconds.
demonetized.
More than enough.
But what would you guys say, like, hands down, like, in the campaign story would be your definitive favorite moment that you go back and you rewatch sometimes? Like, you think, I'm gonna rewatch that.
Levi's and Juan and Brandon Carr's conversation.
That was a good one. That was pretty heavy art, because like it started off super fun and playful, then you could feel it just intense. And I've told Clef, I think off camera before, that I'm usually pretty good at verbal sparring, like going back and forth with somebody like in an argument. But that whole first part of it, he was killing me. Like I couldn't think of anything to say. And it was because I was unexpected and I didn't think Juan was going to take it there. And it just got more and more. And I was like, all right, Brendan, you really got to think right now, because he is murdering you. And then I think I got it back on track to where we were going back and forth. So I love that conversation actually with Clef.
Yeah, because it was so good. Like, both of them had good points, and I loved both of those characters, and it was just it just had so many like different connotations coming with it. And I think that one's one of my favorites, but I do think my favorite is Levi's funeral. Always will be. I go back, I watch that sometimes. I go back and rewatch that montage sometimes.
That montage was great.
We didn't know Hawk was going to do that, so when we saw it in the premiere, oh my god!
Yeah, Hark didn't tell any of us that was going to happen, and then we're all sitting there waiting for it to be over. And I was like, I thought it ended here. There's like still like 40 seconds.
Yeah, that
montage hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah. As I said before, like losing a PC is a big deal. And I wanted to do something special if we're losing a PC. So
it was nice and sweet, and
that was for you, Levi. That was all for you, Levi.
Thank you. I felt it in my heart, and the love I felt, because like it's easy to be sad when your character dies, obviously, but the love I felt from the community afterwards, like everybody was like, "We're gonna miss Levi. We love Levi." I was getting PMs like. That whole day, like just how much everybody loved him. And it was wow, like he had an impact.
And I have to say that scene that you wanted to do when Chessa passed on was like perfect. That was just the perfect way to close out Levi's story.
When it comes out, I'm gonna watch that funeral and then watch that part. Like, right after the bouncy back up.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's a good one to go back to and watch. And it was bittersweet because it was something that brought the group back together. I think, like
Yeah.
his death
Yeah.
was the reason I think because there was moments where we would like talk and be like, well, I don't know how we're gonna be friends again after this, and it took Levi dying to kind of bring everybody back together.
Yeah, that and the mass killing curse is what
Yeah,
brought, like, this horrible tragedy is what brought this group of friends back together. And that's sad, but it's also like true. I think that's one thing I appreciated so much about the story is it really did feel like real people dealing with real problems, and which is hilarious because it's like one of the most magical, fantastical universes ever, and we still managed to deal with real things, you know.
yeah. To go to our fate because the funeral and the scene with Juan and Levi was great. But something that I could always go back to that I think it's a forgotten gem is that first event in the tournament where we did the Quidditch. Because leading up to it was great too. Because like we're all panicking, we're like, we're cold. Rox, what are you doing? I had my face painted. I don't know what we were doing. Because I could go back and watch that a lot.
I go back. I watch that all the time actually as well because just the whole first section of Van Huck's like, now make sure you're prepared, and none of us did. And I was like, listen guys, I got the perfect thing. And she's like, check out all these brooms with my name on them. She's rock star, let's go. And then her and Aika's first conversation was that when she throws herself on her knees and begs him for the potion. Like,
yeah. So
like please.
That's definitely one I could go back to. And it set the tone for the rest of the events, I think, because every event after that, we're like, what can we do to make sure we're good, guys? Like, we can't let that happen again. So that's that. I think that's a forgotten gem is the first event.
I think if I were to answer Jordan's questions, is I just really enjoy watching the very early parts of the Zodiac games before the events start when you're actually meeting all of the other champions. Because, I look back and Aika and Tritessa, like, you guys didn't really know their characters at all, and I could already sense you had preconceived notions of what their characters would be like, and just seeing, like, I think a lot of people did not expect Aika to be the way that he ended up being.
Absolutely not. I think that's why he ended up being my favorite NPC.
Brandon hated Aika.
Yeah, and then, like, the more you get to know him,
I used to say all the time, Levi likes him, Brandon hates him and doesn't trust him, and he's the bad guy.
And he was just totally chill.
Yeah.
He's like super chill.
Yeah.
He's like one of my favorite NPCs.
Yeah, he's great.
I didn't expect, this is the beauty of it too, is like I made these characters and I wasn't necessarily like expecting them to play huge roles. I didn't really know how big of a role Tritessa would end up playing, and she really did shine a lot in many moments of the story. And even Chessa was one of those, like, I don't know if anyone's going to end up really establishing any relationship with or bonds with Chessa or not. I just put her in, and so I'm very grateful that as players you guys engaged and really tried to interact with these characters just to learn more, because it forced me to flesh them out.
Yeah.
So
definitely, if we had been in another timeline, I think I've talked with everyone about this. Like, I can totally see Tritessa and Juan and like dating or something like that.
Oh yeah, I ship it. Ever since he said it, I was like, God, if I could go back and just see how that would have played
There's a
out.
lot of others, yeah. And Chessa had me at Star Wars, so I mean, of course.
Yeah, that Chessa obviously knows about Star Wars as well.
You got a favorite one, AJ?
Oh, I was like going through them all. Like, you guys hit a lot of the great ones, so I'm gonna try to pick something different. But I'm gonna cheat and pick two. One that was more like pivotal to Al, and it wasn't even like anything like major in terms of a scene. But I think that just when Al first came out to the group, and like just how they responded to like Asa not taking it well, like I think that was just a nice little moment to like show that even if they didn't know Al very well, like they were just open to that. And I think that was good for him. From an out of character standpoint, I think one of my favorite sessions was, or it might have covered two sessions because it kind of went across like a gap, but the event where they switched bodies and we're in the
Oh
Albion
yes,
float and the switching bodies and like that.
that was
That
fun.
session was probably
That
one of
was-
my favorites.
Oh, that was so
Just for
fun.
entertainment's sake.
And
Yeah,
so
we were at,
fun.
we were at Hark's house when it happened, so
Yeah.
it makes it even better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, like
I loved that whole part. Like when Juan got his head cut off. Like, not even his. Roxana.
Oh yeah, I was gonna
No, Levi's. You
Levi's,
tried
yeah.
Levi's head.
Well,
And he was
Juan
hanging
did
in
his
here.
head cut
Like,
off.
hi, hi,
like
how
a
are you?
lantern.
What the very first? I think I said this to the players at some point, but I don't know if I said it in a recording. But my very first campaign that I ever did, it was a D&D campaign, and there was a session where all of the PCs swapped bodies, and it was also their favorite session of the campaign, and I wanted to repeat that with one of my campaigns that I did on my channel, but they didn't really feel like there was an opportunity like that allowed me to do that until we hit Harry Potter. I'm like, okay, well, Harry Potter is all about magic and all of these like mishaps happen, and I thought I got to do something like that for this session. And when Brandon even mentioned something along the lines of swapping bodies, I was like, okay, well, if Brandon mentioned it, then I have to do it at some point then. So I'm glad that you ended up liking that part.
That was
So
a very good episode. And then it was unique having to do a dungeon crawl in your own, not in your own body, because it was like
Yes.
really unique to be like, oh, I don't know what Rox does.
Ow,
Like,
ow, water.
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 Roxy, water.
It just cracked me up, right? Because like as soon as you could, like if you go back and watch it, as soon as like Brendan starts, like the gears start turning, the mouse wheel starts spinning about what's happening, the first thing he says is, please tell me I'm Rox. It's the first thing that comes out of his mouth. Is like, oh my god, please tell me that's me.
I
It
was
cracked me up.
because as soon as I started figuring out what was happening, I was like, oh my god, if I'm Rox, this is gonna be hilarious.
Tomb Raider, Gerald.
She's just flower crop, the crop top and shit.
Another moment that I do enjoy rewatching over and over again is your reaction to the Act 1 finale when Orion appears, like just randomly in your session. These 4 random people just appear. That was fun.
I think that one we kind of forget how fun the first part, like not the first part with the whole walk, because that episode was weird. Because the beginning it's like super high tense, like oh no, what's Rox gonna do to Juan step down?
Yeah.
And then it calms down into the party, and we're like, oh sweet, Orion's here, this is gonna be fun. And then it's like midnight's coming, and we're like, we know something's about to happen. So it was like that whole episode was a roller coaster.
Yeah,
was
that
so
episode
good.
was Juan having a nervous breakdown over, oh, well, it doesn't fucking matter. Like, ah.
And let's not
haywire.
forget favorite bit, talking quill. Ingenious
talking
The
invention.
talking,
talking
that was
quill.
so smart because we were all just like talking over each other. We like, who came up with it? Was that you, Rock? Was that you? Jordan?
That would be me.
Good move. Because that was
Because
a
I
perfect
could-
way to get people to take turns.
Because I was seeing it was spiraling out of control because we all had these really loud characters that all like, and I think it's also like we were all so excited that this random group of people showed up and we're playing with them. So I was like, shit, someone needs to do something about this. Oh, I know. We can do something to control the situation and disguise it as a gag. So that's how the talking quill came to be.
It was perfect. I think that
it
was
was
a
great.
good idea.
One part that I never intended to actually be all that funny, but you guys ended up running with it, was the whole Hark, is Juan really crazy? And like, I'm gonna go do a roll check to see if Juan is crazy, and I was like, Juan is crazy, but then your reaction to that was just great. So,
One is crazy. And again, like something I do go over and watch. It's Hannah and 8.
yes, Hana and 8, yes, and
They
Paco.
They just crack me up. I don't know what to
Yes.
say. It's funny.
There was a
Anytime
lot.
it was like the other three players, you were going to be filling in this role, and I'm like, oh god, I'm not going to be able to say anything because I'm going to be laughing too hard because Cliff's going to be doing a stupid fucking voice the whole time. It's going to be too funny.
I thought every moment where we had to play like not necessarily our characters was always fun and great. Where it's like,
Right.
oh, you're Timmy, Wanda, and Cosmo, and it's like, let's roll with this. This is gonna be fun.
Timmy, it's your mama.
And oh my god, that
camera when I told Brandon, I said, I hope Timmy has a little son named Tommy, and she'll just be, Tommy, it's your grandmama.
oh my god, and all the 8 stuff too. Like, I go
Oh,
back and
eight.
like rewatch that because just all of us losing it, and it's a solid 5 minutes of us just trying to salvage something from this scene.
I remember afterwards, Clef was like, I'm so sorry for taking away from your scene. I was like, no, I've never laughed so hard. I was like, I needed that.
Yeah, I really felt bad because that was supposed to be like introduction to Luke. Like, who is Luke? Let's see him. And I'm bad at changing my voice. I'm not very good at it. I can't do accents, so I was like, okay, I'm a kid. How can I make my voice different and not just be 1.2.0?
No.
I sound like Mickey Mouse.
Yes.
Sometimes you just need a good laugh. And that whole thing was just so funny. And I laugh about that every time I watch it.
Oh man, so many good memories.
Yeah, another, if we're going to keep talking about episodes we liked,
Mm-hmm.
another good one that I love because I wasn't a part of it was the dance one when you guys did the dance and everything. I wasn't there, so getting to watch it for the first time, it's like, whoa, this is really cool. I liked it. I wish Levi was there. I feel like that was a Levi episode.
That was such a Levi episode. That you couldn't make it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was the Levi episode.
But you guys did such a good job. And then I love when Hark sang as the Spice Girls and took my idea and won the competition with it because he blew us out of the water because it was so well done.
You guys should have went with the Spice Girls. You guys should have done it.
They never listened to Levi.
Never listened to Levi.
Yeah, we didn't.
It wasn't until after he died that we actually listened to anything he said, and then we took credit for the idea.
Yes.
It's all right.
He's like,
it's all right.
what if you all cast a spell? I mean, it seems like a good idea. You all get the spell, it's good. And Roxanne was like, yep, we all came up with that. We all agreed that this was the best idea, and there was no advice from the afterlife at all.
I still love my reaction of heaven being real.
Heaven being real.
Like,
You guys
I
know how
still...
hard it is to be like sensitive to everybody's religion but still like try to talk about the afterlife is really hard.
Yeah. And Juan just being there like, wait. Having a mental breakdown. Jesus is absolutely real. My life is going to hell.
I was so happy when Hark jumped in and was like, well, there's some secrets you can't tell. I was like, yeah, thank God. Yeah, there's things I can't talk about, guys.
Because I could see the slight bit of panic in your eyes when Hawk was like, I want to know what Levi thinks the afterlife is. And I was like, I saw you just go like...
because there's just so many religions you don't want to upset anybody. And it's like, you don't want to be like, oh, well, clearly Jesus and God are up there and no one else. It's like, I don't know what to say.
What was some of your favorite things from the epilogue?
Oh, I loved personally the Leia stuff. Obviously, I'm a little biased. I love the Leia stuff.
I needed to do the whale. I needed to put the whale somewhere. The whale was sort of like at a loose end. I was like, I got it. We didn't use it for the final battle, so I got to put it in the epilogue.
I so wanted the whale to be part of the final battle.
It's okay. We got tanks. It's okay. That was fine. We had tanks.
You're by the way.
We had, and not only tanks, but Naila firing a tank.
Wouldn't it have been awesome to kill Greyback by throwing a whale at him?
That would have been pretty epic.
Yes.
You hit him with a killing curse, and that pretty much did him in. So.
Who killed Greyback?
You did.
You did.
I did?
You did with the killing curse.
Fuck. I did?
You did with the killing curse.
Fuck. I thought that this was for Shanna for some
No,
reason.
I dropped his. I made mind controlled him to where he had to drop the invincibility, and then you shot him like the next turn, and it got him.
Dropping a whale on him would have been a really fun, ironic finishing move as opposed to Avada Kedavra. But you know,
Yeah, but
that's
I didn't have it. Like Leia or Luke had that, and they didn't. So
Yeah, it's all right. But it
it's
got
all right.
in the wedding. Anybody else had anything from the epilogue they like?
I think
love
Juan's
Toby's.
was my favorite because I saw Clef as a player. Because I know Clef was like, Juan's not gonna have a great ending, but I saw Clef as a player being surprised because I think Hark, you framed it in such a way that it made sense, and so that was nice to see Juan. You know what? Yes, he's got his demons. Yes, he's still dealing with this, but Juan is not an asshole, as Albion would say. He's a good guy.
There's still a little bit of an
that
apple, but
good
not a
in him, yeah.
big one.
Yeah,
So I like that. I think I like that the best.
It was
I
good. It
feel
was
like-
bittersweet.
I personally liked all the stuff with James Potter and Luke, just because
yeah.
I really love
cute.
the connection that Luke has with the Harry Potter books. You know, from not only attending Hogwarts, but just, you know, interacting with Harry's son. And so I thought that was a really cool, like, nod towards the canons here.
And he's inheriting the house.
Right.
The
The Dursley house, yes.
So there's a lot of connection there. I really like that, but I didn't want to give two things of mine and say Leia and Luke. So I'm glad you brought it up,
Yeah.
Mark.
Harry Potter like stops him as he's moving into the house, and he's like, "Burn this place to the ground. I hated this place."
I hated this house, yeah.
Yeah, I also liked. This is another one that's. I'm sorry, guys. I don't mean to make this all about me, but the Felix thing was really good because like it was nice to see. It was nice to see what happened after he passed away because Felix was one of my favorites from the spin-offs. So like I was curious if we would know, you know, like kind of what because you know he was the only one of them that died, so it was tough to be like. And I'm glad that part of it he's still hanging out with Levi, obviously, because that was awesome to me because they were in just that little bit of time they spent together. I feel like they did have a pretty
nice the
friendship.
kiss, their passionate kiss.
Yeah, I already kissed him. I mean,
Ship we never knew we wanted, but the ship we needed.
Shasta thought that Marilyn Monroe was the one she needed to look out for. It's actually Felix she needs to look out for.
Yeah. I'm surprised she wasn't like, wait, you know the Spice Girls? Like, okay.
Jess is just that confident.
Yeah,
She is very confident.
Yeah.
if you're that cute, I mean, easy.
I mean, my personal favorite, like, if we're not talking about Juan's, because Juan's was definitely the best epilogue. It was very beautifully written. I liked it a lot. I liked Toby's. I liked that Toby's was also very bittersweet because that last line, I was like, oh, we went in this together, and then we leave it together, and I was like.
Yeah, writing epilogues is I don't want to make everything perfect in an epilogue because I try to at least put in, like you said, I try to think about how things would actually turn out realistically, but at least put in a sense of hope or at least open-endedness. Like with the stuff with Juan and Austera, for example. I wasn't sure what Clef wanted to see between Austera and Juan, so I just left it vague so that people watching, including Clef, can decide in their own heads what happens.
They totally
Yeah.
bang.
So
That's my
they
head
totally
canon.
bang. They totally bang.
My head canon. I ship it. I ship it too much.
What do you guys think was the most surprising parts of the epilogue? If you guys,
That
did you
Joe was an alcoholic.
Yeah.
that kind of
It
hit me
makes
too.
sense.
It makes
Yeah.
so much sense. But when I
Yeah.
was reading it, I was like, "Oh no, Joe!" But
Yeah.
it makes sense.
What do
He
you
lost
do?
his son that loses all his students. Like
Right.
pretty much, he gave all his students the power to do this too. Like he taught them, like, "Hey, this." It
Right.
was like, so it makes sense that like he would take it hard. But I'm glad he pulled out of it. So.
Yeah, I love Joe a lot. He's definitely one of my favorites of the of the side characters, if not my favorite side character, and it was hard writing his part, but as you said, it makes sense. Like, I wanted to give him a happy ending, but I couldn't, because like with stuff with Thaddeus, like that's not going to be cool, at least not right away. So
yeah, it would have been kind of disappointing if like we got to them and you're like, and they lived happily ever after with no problems. It's like, oh well, his son died, and then his students became bad guys, and then most of them died, and it's like.
Was there, I guess my question is, now that we're done, was there a specific NPC or side character that you wish we would have gotten to see more, or at least would have gotten to be more involved?
For me, it's Rodney, but I feel like because of the spin-off, I got what I wanted from that, because he was way more in the spin-off than our main cast. So I feel like if you watch both, then you get enough Rodney. But personally, I wish we would have gotten more Rodney.
Yeah, because the thing is, right, because you have a set time, so we're always going to look back and think like, oh, I wish I did that, but with so many NPCs and characters, you're never going to find the time to do everything. And I think the only thing I can really think of that I wanted, and we just like simply ran out of time, and that's nobody's fault, was like just one last conversation like between Roxana and Alec, just to kind of close that off and go like, hey, we all obviously care about each other. We haven't been the best to each other, but we cool. And I wanted to see Natasha in Act 2, but that's just me being biased.
I would have liked to see more of Naila, and wouldn't because of my silly mistake.
I tried to. I intended for there to be more Naila stuff. I tried really hard.
Yeah.
But I'm so sorry for that, because I've said it before and I'll say it again. Juan isn't the one at fault for Naila. It's me, Clev, the player. I just assumed, and that's bad. Don't assume, people. Don't.
Yeah, well, like, to be honest, we had all the things going on with the hoops and shit. Like, that was like took up so much of our time as well.
That's something I loved. That the hoops in Act 1 were such a red herring. They didn't effing matter in the first act, and they didn't until like the late part of the second act.
I'm just saying, Levi wanted to catch the pig, but whatever. Nobody listens to Levi.
AJ, was there a side character that you would have wanted to see more of?
I don't think so. Like, I feel like you were limited as a GM of what you could do. I mean, obviously, some of the ones I created, like Hideo and what's his name, the butler. Ellis.
Yeah.
But I mean, going into it, you let us know, like, I'm not going to be able to put all these in there. And I feel like I was happy with it. Like, I don't want you to think I was unhappy. Of course, I would love to have seen more. I did kind of picture more of a closer relationship with Albion and Hideo, but we just never kind of got to, like, hit on it. And then I think it would have been awkward to go back and pretend it existed. So I feel like I was satisfied.
Yeah.
Going in, I definitely intended there to be more Hideo and Albion scenes. The opportunity just didn't come up.
Right.
And just in general, I kind of added a lot of foundation for a lot of the professors and headmasters, and I actually wanted them to play more of a role in Act 2, especially during the war. But again, I was trying to squeeze so much that I had to cut those type of scenes out. But the one staff member that I did want very much and intended for him to have more of a role in the story, because I really am fascinated by his backstory, is Chogen. Because I really love Chogen and his, like, who he represents, like the type, him and his people and what they represent. And I really took a lot of time figuring out what I don't know what the political term is. Native American is no longer term. I think it's indigenous. What the indigenous people went through if they lived in the wizarding world. and I wanted to do more of that, but again, I just couldn't fit it in. So
I think personally, Hark, you did a fantastic job with all like 40 NPCs that were in the
Thank
game.
you.
Like, I don't know who could have. You gave everybody enough spotlight where I felt like we knew who everybody was, and like you never said we couldn't talk to anybody. Like I'm sure, if,
right,
like,
exactly.
if in part 2 we could have easily been like, oh, we want to go see Chogan, and you would not have
Right.
been like, you guys can't see Chogan. It's like
Yeah,
we had
exactly.
opportunity, it's just tough with the amount of time and
Yeah.
With
how
so many
NPCs
things.
there are.
So many things going on. I know, like, there's still, like, looking back, there's still things I wish, like, I had done differently. Like, I wish Roxana and Levi had that relationship they had when we first, like, tried out our characters together. Because, like, when I see Chap as a thing, they were, like, tight as. They were inseparable. They were pretty much what Toby is to Roxana. But just because, like, I think it came down to the fact that we were just like, it'll just happen, and then I never put the time into it. That, like, of course it's not going to happen if you don't play it out. But yeah, like, I honestly have to commend you, like, juggling that many characters. I couldn't do it.
Yeah, it's hard because I tried to come up with characters that you could interact with, just so that I'm not randomly pulling people out of my butt, because as a GM, you do have to do that at times. Just, you wanted to talk to the professor of this subject? Yeah, it's this, whatever. So I try to be prepared. So as a piece of advice, just to future players, I try to make characters that I think are interesting enough for you to hook you in to start interacting with them. The supporting cast of a campaign is ultimately determined by who you like take the initiative to talk to and who you take the initiative to interact with, and that's why people like, for example, Tritessa and Chessa ended up having such bigger roles, because I didn't know originally if anyone would really talk to them, but you guys did, and so
Yeah, and I said it before, you never said we couldn't talk to anybody. If we wanted to talk to any of the NPCs, we could have. It's just we all eventually find our favorite NPCs, the one we share most. So
correct, exactly.
Yes, let's keep talking so it's not over. No, I'm just kidding. It can't be over.
alternate universe ships. I have Juan and Tritessa.
Juan and Tritessa. Chessa and Roxana. Chessa.
Yes.
No, that's not happening. Not even in an alternate universe.
We can do Levi and Al then if that happens.
Oh,
Yeah,
I would love to have seen that. I would have loved to have seen Dandelion, Lion Flower.
I mean, not now, but, like, before we knew they were kind of not really by blood, but
they're not.
Bypass that. I mean, it's totally Star Wars, right?
Star Wars.
Well,
They don't
actually,
have any blood relation though. There
Yeah,
is
They don't
zero-
have any blood relation at all.
yeah. Just a sister that we share. Who cares?
Yeah, just a sister that you share. Yeah.
Yeah, going into it, because we were talking about ships even before like the game started, and surprisingly, Levi had a lot of them. I think Levi and Al was definitely like a front runner in the beginning, and then I personally wanted Levi and Naila. I liked them together because she's kind of free spirited and like fun. I feel like her and Levi could have really easily gotten along.
Yeah, totally.
And yeah.
I thought, again, and I have no idea how Clef feels about it, but I thought it would be interesting to see something going on between Finn and Juan.
Oh,
Yeah.
Because there was early things that sort of led to that, to Finn and Juan.
I would have go with that, but at the moment I was like, I think he has a crush on Naila.
Naila,
And then everything else happened, and then
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I swear I don't keep trying to make this about me. But there was also another point where I thought Levi Chance could have
Yes.
worked out.
I thought. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
100%. Yes.
Definitely.
Chance.
So-
I think Chance always had a thing for Levi, and it was just never addressed because even before Chessa, it was just never addressed because he didn't want that to spoil their friendship. So
Yeah. That's always like the tough thing, because there was a point where I was like, because I never made Levi's sexuality like set in stone, has to be whatever. And I was like, he'll go with whatever the RP does. And there was a point where I was like, oh, Chance is a really nice guy.
He is.
There's no reason he wouldn't take Chance. He's like a good looking guy and like he's fun and funny. It's just that, you know, they were friends and they didn't really talk about it. And then Chessa came along. So
finance is big too. Finn and Chance. Finance.
Yeah, that could have been a big.
That would have been really neat, interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, then Albion had to come in like with the home wrecker he is.
Bad Albion.
Before that, there was a brief moment I was like, I wonder how Al and
Aika, yeah.
Because he had helped in that first
Al and
session,
Aika,
and I
yeah.
was like,
Alika.
But then Roxy took him.
Yeah, Alika.
And that, I honestly didn't expect that at all. To just totally.
Because I think you were going for Roxanne and Finn. Or you saw Roxanne and Finn. I saw that too. Roxanne and Finn I saw as well.
Because I was like, here's the thing, because I was thinking future, right? And I was thinking like, they're going to have the kind of relationship, in my head, the way I pictured it, that they started off hating each other, right? And then kind of like the tension like throws them together and they end up kind of having like a bit of a heated relationship. Like where they probably get into a lot of arguments, and if they're if they're annoyed at each other, they'll let each other know because they have in the past. Yeah, and I was like really curious to see how that would have worked out after the 20-year time skip, and if they ever had children. I was like really wanting to see that, but then Aika swooped in. He was just so charming, and like they fit so well together, and now and they actually have a healthy relationship. So I was like, I can't complain.
You should thank me because
that's true. It was Juan.
She got so angry when Juan was like, "Hey, so Ajika wants to invite you to the dance," and she was like, "What? I'm not going."
I remember that was the episode I had to miss. Was the one where because I remember we were talking ahead of time, and Jordan was like, "Oh no, she's just gonna like get information on him or whatever," and then like the guys recorded the episode, and like I think Jordan PM'd me like. Yeah, so the cutest thing happened with Aika and Rob. I was like,
so now they're in love.
That's
like, she's like, I think Rox likes Aika now. And I was like, wow, how'd that happen?
Yes.
It's something like, it's funny because like I played her, I was totally gonna be like, nah, she's not gonna like him. And then like as soon as he showed up, like that first conversation, like when he's asking her out, I love that conversation so much where they're like kind of bouncing off each other. And he, like, that was the minute after that conversation was over. I was like, "Fuck."
That took me by surprise too. It reminds me of for those of you who watched Dragon Age season 2, not to like spoil romance stuff, but with Kenna and Connor, because for a while Sam the player was like, I don't think this is gonna work. I think that because Connor was definitely trying to go after Kenna, and then Kenna was gonna like put him down like nicely turn him down, and so they had this really cute adorable scene like just watching the stars together, and Sam said in that moment when she was putting herself into Kenna's shoes and not thinking as Sam but as the character, she's like, no, I think Kenna's really falling for this guy. I think she's seeing him in a different light. I was like, and I was being prepared 100% to play out him being turned down, and so I was shocked when she started when Kenna started doing, because we never talked about this ahead of time. We talked about how Kenna was gonna turn him down ahead of time, and so I was prepared for that. And then when she didn't do that and did the exact opposite, I was like, oh, okay, well, I gotta shift gears again. What am I supposed to do? I guess I'm gonna keep going with this. And so
I'm actually, because we talked to Kevin and Sam a lot, and me and Sam actually, when I was talking about the Aika stuff, I was like 100% this is what was gonna happen, and then it didn't happen. She's like, well, that actually happened with me with Connor, and so we kind of talked about that as well. But it kind of makes you go back and think like, what if Roxana had ended up going out with Nico instead?
Oh yeah, I would have loved to see that. Would have loved Nico and Roxana.
I think they were like Nico is also kind of a free spirit, but I think their relationship would be very different.
Yes. Oh, 100%. Yes.
Definitely.
But I just really
yeah.
love Nico's energy. He just has this,
Yeah.
and his sense of humor is just as soon.
What's up, ninjas?
Yeah, like, it was so refreshing acting as Nico again. Like today, I loved it because I love his character.
It would have changed, I think, so much as well. I think the polls would have been different because I think he would have gotten a bit more screen time. I think it actually would have probably been switched, and Aika
might have died. I think he would have too.
Yeah, there was a direct correlation with like who we were dating and best friends with, and who got the polls. So I remember that there was a moment similar to where like I thought something was going to happen, but then Hart changes your mind. Like you just get into your character and you're like, oh, this. It was when Levi was going to break up with Chessa. Like I was dead set. I put it like everywhere. I was like, okay, this is when he breaks up with Chessa. And I went to do it, and then like Chessa was just like the greatest, and I was like, Levi's not going to break up with her. How is he ever going to do better? Like, he's not going to break up with this girl.
Yeah, I was going to go back and amend my answer. I think Nico is the character that I wish I could have more of. And if he hadn't died in that scene, I feel like seeing more of him toward the later part, I definitely missed out on. I like Nico a lot.
I'm gonna go and say I wish Levi hadn't have died because the shit that was gonna follow.
I had a lot of plans for bad Levi. I don't think anybody would have liked him too much. Maybe it was a good thing he died. It was about what is it, like die a hero or live long enough to become a villain. That's what was gonna happen to Levi. So. But
yeah, like I don't get me wrong, I love Luke. He is my boy. I will protect him because he is my favorite nephew. I gotta say that. Don't tell Alec. But like, just to see the most glorious fall from grace, I think, ever, I would have liked to have seen that. Just this standout guy just turned into a huge, colossal piece of shit.
It would have been interesting. It would have been interesting. It might have been, now that playing Act 2, it might have been a bit much because everybody was kind of bad at that point.
I don't want to promise anything or give you guys false hopes, but I always thought to myself, if I were to do another campaign like sometime after my 10-year one, because I do want to take a break after my 10th one, it would be to have you guys replay Act 2, and this time it would play out so that Levi lives. And then just see how Act 2 would play with Levi living. And just see what would happen in an alternate reality. That's what I would like to do.
An alternate reality part 2 with Levi. An alternate reality
Act 2. Yeah, with Levi still alive.
That would be so different.
You guys, it'll be
now
bonkers.
God damn it, Brandon, you shouldn't have told me about that thing, because like
No, I didn't know.
That would be like
But he said don't have false hope. But if it happens,
that would be fun.
Be great.
It is. It's too bad I kind of told everyone what was going to happen now, so they're going to be surprised now.
It might not play out the way that you think, though. It may still not play out the way you think.
It's tough because, like, when I play Levi, it's tough to play him as kind of like not a good person. So it'll definitely be a challenge for me. But
especially, and I think it would be interesting if Levi lived, I would have role played the twins. I would have role played Luke and Leia. And that would have been really neat to see his relationship with Luke and Leia at that point. So,
well, me and Brendan actually talked about it, and we were like, Luke would hate Levi. I think like he would have hated him, and Leia I think would have tried to mend some kind of relationship.
Exactly.
But Luke would have been like, "Don't talk to me. I want you out of my life."
Yeah.
I wonder how that changes everything, because I wonder if, let's say, Juan comes and saves Levi, and he's the reason Levi lives. Does does Juan change his personality?
I think that would probably change Juan as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then how does the killing curse thing go down? Because I guarantee if Levi was there when they were talking about Obliviate, nobody would have been obliviated.
Nobody would have been obliviated. Nobody. Toby and Toby and Rox would still be best friends.
Yeah.
Rox would just have to live with it. Like, so much stuff changes.
I would have also loved to have seen how Austera would have factored into a living Levi as well.
Yeah.
Because I intended, prior to Act 2, when I knew Austera was going to be a thing, and I had intended for a lot of really interesting scenes with her revealing, either Levi finding out about his sister or herself revealing herself as his sister, and which we never unfortunately got to do. But I thought that would be really neat to see how Austera plays with Levi's character.
It's definitely a butterfly effect that changes a lot of part 2 of Levi lives.
Yeah. I do think that one may not be that much of an asshole because, like, what really starts to break him, apart from, like, his brother's dead and everything, is, like, the fact that he knows that Levi is dead because of him. Like, he could have done something. If he could have gone with him instead of running away, he could have done so many different things.
Yeah, I remember you bringing that up a couple times. Like, he really, really holds on to that Levi's death is his fault, which I'm sure, like, there's a lot of people who thought that death was his fault. I'm sure Hunter thought, oh, his death is my fault, and Chessa, and, and it changes. A lot of stuff changes if Levi just lives.
Yeah, it would be kind of insane, and God damn it. Listen, if Hawk can't do it, I'll DM it. I'll make it happen. I won't be nearly as good, but I'll try.
He's not.
If anybody is watching right now and really wants to see an Act 2 reboot, mention it in the comments below, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
Guys.
Act 2 reboot.
Yeah. Act 2 reboot.
Act 2, Electric Boogaloo.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
What was everyone's favorite, like, heart creation? Like, I can think of, like, Majfu and Majagra were two of my favorites.
Oh, Majfu was
Majagra.
amazing. I loved Majfu. I got to utilize it as Levi a lot, and it was so fun. And I feel like Hark did a good job because I think Hark knows I don't really like magic characters, and I was like, I'm more of the barbarian guy who likes to hit things. And I feel like I know Hark had that idea, but then he was like, oh, this would be great for Levi, and he gave it to me, and I was so happy because I got to, like, not have to be a wizard, and it was awesome.
Sure.
I don't know if this really counts, but I loved all this stuff with the mass killing casts. Like the way that you narrated, like when she first cast it, and with the whisper and everything. That shit's hype.
The whisper was clever.
It was interesting, and it was very eerie, and I loved it a lot.
I love the moral dilemma around the mass killing curse, because as many of you said, none of you, I thought, coming into this campaign, expected that you would be inventing a super Avada spell.
I knew I was going to be killing somebody, but not like this.
Yeah, no, definitely.
That whole sequence of should we not, I thought was really interesting.
Would have been interesting with Levi more there, like not dead.
Yeah. Nah, you can spot super fit body.
This is what you guys are missing out on. It's really
I liked something that I liked some of the inventions you came up with in the tournament. I liked the 3-way chess was fun.
Oh my god, that was so much fun.
That made me have to, because I love chess. I'm actually pretty good at it. And I was like, oh, I'm good at chess, guys. We got this. But then when you added like the 3 sides and like stuff, I was like, this is way harder than I thought.
Yeah, and I feel bad about that episode because all the while I was like, I am good at one thing. I'm good at magic. I'm gonna be dueling people. Heck yeah, I can do this. Let's go. And I start off and
taken by like a pawn.
Like
turn 2.
Turn 2. Like what was supposed to be my moment of like, let's show what I can do with magic. Ends with you're lost.
Yeah.
Oh well.
I
And I
know.
spent the rest of the session seeing you guys go at it.
I
and I'm like,
know. I'm sorry. Yeah. I
No,
felt that.
no, that
No.
shit happens.
Yeah,
I can't say anything. Brandon watched us play for like 2 or 3 episodes after.
When we died. But like that episode was great because I had no idea what I was doing. I just was like, AJ, Brendan, what do I do? Because I don't know how to play chess. So
Yeah, I love chess, but like the way the board is, it did make it weird. The moves were way weirder, and I was like, "Oh man!" I was like, "This is clever, Hark," and I do not.
I was hoping that I would be able to make the individual events of the Zodiac games diverse and interesting.
They were.
So I hope I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, because all the events were super, super interesting. And like we kept trying to figure out what they were. We're like, oh, what are they? I bet you we're gonna do this. I bet you we're gonna do this. The only one I think we nailed was Quidditch. We knew some point in the game we
was going to be Quidditch. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, but the rest of them came as like shockers and surprises. It was always fun. And like I feel like there was events where each one of us shined more than the other. It was just really fun. Levi count the snitch in like 30 seconds. What's Nico talking about?
Which one of the 5, including the Halloween masquerade ball, which of the 5 was your favorite? 5 events.
probably actually the Quidditch.
The Quidditch was your favorite?
Was my favorite because of everything leading up to the actual match. Recorded in 30 seconds. One of my favorite things to also go back and watch is our reaction when Levi, like we're all like screaming, going, "Yeah!" and we've all got our face.
We all cheered.
Like,
yeah.
Brandon's got his face painted like William Wallace or some shit.
And you know what? We may not have won the games, but we were the only team that won 2 of the main 4 events.
Yes.
We did. There was points we did. I really enjoyed that Hark didn't make it easy on us. Like it would have been real easy for him to be like, okay, you guys just win all the events. You know, you guys are the PCs, and no, everything felt like a challenge. Even when we would win, it felt hard.
I think my personal favorite was the Mahatokoro event, just because it was like a hodgepodge. It was like a combination of Jeopardy and Survivor. And I just really liked the strategy of having to decide who are you going to pair up with, and you know, when are you going to use your.
I fucking love that. The moment it started, and all of us realized they ganged up together.
Yeah, they all teamed up against us.
It was like 3 events in where we're like, wait a second.
Why are they only picking each other?
Something is going on.
They formed an alliance, even though they had talked to you guys individually about forming an alliance. We're like,
and it was like, oh my god, they allied against us, those motherfuckers.
It's part of the game.
I permanently knocked myself out for the whole event. With the duel at the start, and then everyone was like, "Come back in," and I was like, "No, I'm not going down. I'm going to keep fighting."
Like,
and
you're
then I
dead.
didn't do another.
I
don't think I did another event during that task because I had been taken down so many marine levels.
Yeah. I like the jelly bean, the Birdie Bots event with Albion and Aika. I thought that was fun.
This has been a great time.
Wow.
That actually was one thing that I had planned. I had planned a scene that took place at the Birdie Bots Every Flavor Beans factory. There was this really fun. It was supposed to be a fun little tiny small adventure that I was trying to squeeze in between within the 20-year jump that we never got to. But who knows? Maybe we'll do that in the reboot, the Act 2 reboot.
Yeah, everyone
in the comments now.
In the comments down below, tell us would you want to see Act 2 rebooted with a live Levi?
A live Levi. Yes.
We would each get to pick a Birdie Bots bean that like represented us.
And we get a quick magical power. I don't know. It sounds so cool.
Hark, I had a alternate universe question because you said that there was
Yes.
a possibility that if we won the thing,
Yes.
we could have talked the ministry out of
Yes.
going to war.
Yes.
What was your plan from there? Like, let's say we didn't go to war, like, because there was still a whole act 2. Would the hoops become more
Well,
important?
It was
at that
more.
point, or?
It was more about whether or not to convince them to take down the statute of secrecy. Like that was really the big decision. Because Act 2 is going to be vastly different on whether or not Muggles knew about magic or Muggles did not know about magic. So if you convinced the ministries to keep the statute of secrecy, then the second act would be less about the war and more about Greyback trying to get the hoops. Like that portion would have taken up the full of Act 2 as opposed to the end of Act 2. Was Greyback trying to get all the hoops.
Gotcha. You guys should have listened to Levi just once or twice. We would have.
I know. We would have saved ourselves a lot of pain.
Okay,
and
but
suffering.
in retrospective, yes, because the hoops didn't end up mattering after a while. But it was awesome.
Yeah,
True.
honestly,
Good point, Clef.
The war part of the story was my favorite because it was gritty and
Yeah.
dark and horrible.
Yeah.
Because war is gritty and dark and horrible, and
Yeah.
it's great because I like to suffer.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do also probably need to go soon too. So is there any last minute things before I go?
I feel like I have a bunch
Just
of
thank
questions
you.
about the campaign. Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you.
I was just
Please do the
thank you.
reboot.
Thanks, Hark. You really brought us together and gave us an amazing game. It was so fun from start to end.
I love you for very much. You know that.
Oh.
I will miss you all dearly.
Mm.